let's define this term Salafi, because I think we get into names and we forget realities. And I think the name itself causes a lot of confusions and misunderstanding among people. And once you define what the name and all these titles mean, and separate the title and get down to the reality of what is being said, that is the way you distinguish. If I can give one piece of advice to all the listeners, to myself, and to the host, to everyone, is to find out truth for truth. And Imam Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, the companion of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said something in a beautiful way, which means that men are known by the truth. The truth is not known because of certain men. So let's deal what is meant by this Salafi. The Salafi, it is a descriptive noun that's going to relate to a group of people called as-Salaf. As-Salaf is those first three Muslim generations. And that term is understood from the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, in which the Prophet said, خَيْرُ النَّاسِ قَرْنِي ثُمَّ الَّذِينَ يَلُونَهُمْ ثُمَّ الَّذِينَ يَلُونَهُمْ. That the best people are my generation. Al-Qarn means generation, and they determined that as to be 100 years. Then those who came after them, the next 100 years, then those who came after them, the next 100 years. So this would be the first 300 years after the Prophet ﷺ, which would include his companions, their followers, and the followers after them. This is as-Salaf. Now, this term that they're using as relating to as-Salaf is, they're saying Salafiyya or Salafi. As-Salaf and the Salafiyya are two different people. As-Salaf is that great group of Muslims who lived in the first 300 years, who the Prophet described them as the best of all the people. No Muslim would argue with the high status of as-Salaf. And among as-Salaf were men like Abu-Hanifah, Malik, Shafi'i, Ahmed. And if you go to the definition of 300 years, you would count Imam al-Maturidi and Imam al-Ash'ari. Now, this term, Salafi, is ascribing to that. And it would say that we follow the Salaf. But you have to remember one of the statements of a man from as-Salaf. His name was Abdullah ibn Mubarak. Abdullah ibn Mubarak, he was a great scholar from as-Salaf. He said a statement, and I want everyone, if they can, to memorize this statement. He said, Al-Isnadu min ad-din, walau la isnad, laqala man sha ma sha. He said, Al-Isnad, which is the chain of narrators, is a part of this religion. And if it is not for that Isnad, that chain of narrators, anyone can say about the religion whatever they want. Now, if we establish the Salaf, and what was the Salaf, so those who want to follow the Salaf need to be connected to the Salaf. I challenge anyone who would claim to be Salafi to produce from their time today to the Salaf a continuous chain of every scholar who called himself Salafi, whoever used that word. And this challenge would stand to the top of those scholars who claim that way. Not just to the common people, to their scholars. You produce one chain of all so-called scholars who call themselves Salafi. I'll produce and will produce chains of scholars who said they were Shafi'i, chains of scholars of Ash'ari, chains of scholars of Maturidi, Hanafi, Maliki, Hanbali. You produce one chain from today, continuous, non-stop, unbroken, that says Salafi, 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 Afari, 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 all the way back. You will not find. Not one chain. Not one. Because all the chains of hadith, all the chains of the Quranic sciences, all the chains of the Arabic language, all the chains of spirituality, go through those established Sunni schools, those four schools of the Shafi'i, Maliki, Hanbali, Hanafi, or the Ash'ari or Maturidi school. This is an undeniable historic fact. So the difference between a Salafiyya and Ahlus Sunnah as those Madhahib are a difference of connected chain back to the Prophet ﷺ. And according to their methodology, if the chain is not connected, it is da'if. Since their chain is not connected, I must say their madhab is da'if. So the difference between a Salafiyya and Ahlus Sunnah as those Madhahib are a difference of connected chain back to the Prophet ﷺ. And according to their methodology, if the chain is not connected, it is da'if. Since their chain is not connected, I must say their madhab is da'if.